Earth is getting slammed right now with high frequency energy. And this has to do with the planetary alignment that we are experiencing as we're getting close to the solar eclipse, which is going to happen at the end of the month, which I believe is going to completely shift reality as we know it. And the result is going to be a karmic healing, a balancing of Earth. I'm going to get into some of the reasons why I believe that. This is the Michael Denney YouTube channel. Used to be the Thunder Wizard YouTube channel. And here we talk about how to shift forward. Disclosure is coming. Open contact is here, and I am proof of that. Welcome back to the channel. So, the amount of energy that is hitting me today is unprecedented. I've never felt this much intensity. My communications with my light being friends over the past, I don't know how many months, they've been telling me, they started telling me months ago. And now I understand why they were doing that, because, it's here. But they were communicating to me that I was going to experience a huge influx of energy, and that the energy and the power in me was going to start increasing to such a level that it was going to be very difficult for me to tolerate and process. And so it wasn't happening. And so they kept on telling me almost on a daily basis, and I would say, okay, I'm listening to you. So if and when it happens, I'll understand. Well, it's happening. And it's getting more and more intense as we get towards this eclipse. Every single day so far, the energy in me has become just almost more than I can handle. In fact, it's kind of been touch and go. The energy is so intense. One of the other messages that they were telling me, this was again months ago, was that when I got to the place where I felt as though I wanted to be judge, jury, and executioner on the globalist elite and take them out, that was going to signify something that was going to be, I'm interpreting, was going to be very significant in our live guided interdimensional meditations. These, which we're going to do one in about a couple hours, if you're watching this before Saturday at 8:30. And so anyway, I'm interested to see what happens tonight in the meditation. So let's get into what we're talking about here. So this alignment, it's going to bring karmic healing of Earth and the amount of energy that is slamming the Earth. There's a lot of solar radiation that's hitting us now, and there's a lot of ambient, crazy solar radiation and planetary radiation, because it's been building up, and it's been building up in the Earth. And so we're getting to a place where all of the energy is building up. We don't have to have direct solar storms slamming into us, although that is happening at the moment. And potentially there's a huge one on the way. We don't know yet. But there's a huge coronal hole that's now getting ready to face Earth, which is, if it releases, it could be the big one. Anyway, But we already know that everything, the Schumann resonance in Earth is going crazy. There's all kinds of crazy stuff happening right now. I sure as heck can feel it. So, my experience is now lining up with what I've been told for the past few months, which is that everything is going to shift. You are going to get a huge influx of energy. Your spiritual power is going to increase significantly, and you're going to want to just take out, all the bad guys. And when that happens, when you focus it spiritually, you're going to accomplish huge things. So I take that to mean not only me, but also everybody who's doing these meditations. If we really focus on changing this world, the energies are lining up to help us do that. So I'd like to invite you once again to please be a part of that if you aren't already doing so. All right, so let's take a look. As you know, we've got this eclipse going on in Pisces All of those planets are lining up in Pisces, directly opposite Ketu, which is down there. You see the number 6, that is Virgo. Virgo represents everyday 3D stuff. Ketu represents the spiritual deletion of such a thing. It's a portal to other realms. When you have all of those planets with a solar eclipse, which is going to happen at the end of the month, and you have all that pointing directly to the portal that goes to another dimension, that means third dimensional reality is going to be deleted as we understand it. And it's going to be all of the planets, which represent all of the chakras within us, are going to be focused deeply spiritual and transforming all of that. So we haven't had anything like this since 1962. I don't believe that there was a solar eclipse, but there was a huge alignment of planets all smashed together in a house like this. And that was in the sign of Capricorn, which is the number 10 there. So imagine all those planets moved over to where you see the number 10, and then we would go 7 from that. So 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd end up in the sign of Cancer. So Ketu would be in the sign of Cancer. So what is Cancer? Cancer is the emotions, the intuition, the mind. It can represent the unconscious collective. So what that would mean is that all of that energy would be focused on the collective consciousness, and Ketu in there would be taking away the power. So what happened right after 1962? I was born in 1963, just months before President Kennedy was assassinated. And we've just had this release of information about his assassination. And we're finding more and more information, things we've already suspected, things we've already known, that the CIA and there was a deep state plot against him. And they got rid of him because one reason people already know is that he was planning on getting rid of the CIA. And in fact, he made a speech on it. He didn't publicly say the CIA, but he was very clear he was talking about it. And he was saying that there shouldn't be these kinds of secrets, that this is creating, and he didn't use the words. I think he used the word conspiracy, global conspiracy. So he was getting too close for them. There were other things that were even more damning about them, which is going to come to light. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And don't tell me that's a dad sneeze. I've been sneezing like that my whole life. Anyway, so all of this stuff is coming to a head. In 1962, this alignment happened, and then the next year, we had the Kennedy assassination, which was followed, not too far after, with his brother being assassinated. And there was the reason for that, we already know, is that they were going to expose the CIA in a way that would have debilitated the globalist elite that were just in the process of consolidating. We just come out of World War II. World War II actually helped create and consolidate this. Now, it's interesting because, after World War II, there was this huge economic boom in the United States. And it's because of the war that the United States was able to then create this huge middle class. Now, the huge middle class became this huge source of consumer energy, which is money, which is taxes, which is money going to the corporations that are now being built. That's when you see, after World War II, you see this massive food corporations show up. You have cereal, boxed cereal. You have all these processed foods. This explodes right after World War II, and then you have people buying homes, and homes are more affordable. And you see the explosion of suburban sprawl. All that happens right after World War II, and the economy gets really bloated. Well, that's a setup. Now, of course, we didn't know that. I was a kid at that time, but people didn't know that. They thought, oh, this is life from here on out. But what was happening is the pig was getting fattened for the slaughter. Because then what started to happen in the 70s, 80s, and 90s is then that middle class started getting destroyed. So they fattened it up and then started deflating it and taking all of the energy and the wealth that came from it. And then you had the society that we have now. And that all has to do with the CIA and the NSA and the global elites and the banking cartel, all of that. That's what's behind all of it. So if we look at these two planetary alignments, one in 1962 in Capricorn, where the energy is going to delete the mind, delete Cancer, which is the ability to intuit and to meditate and connect and nurture. That's being deleted. So now we have something completely opposite, where the everyday life in Virgo, this plus this equals that, the intellect of figuring out where to go, that's being deleted from a spiritual perspective. So I think what we're going to see is the exact opposite of what we saw in 62, which it was the consolidation, because the Kennedys, in fact, I had this kind of epiphany when we were meditating on Wednesday, and I was actually thinking about this in the meditation. And I realized that if I look at, what I saw was JFK in his 5D self. So there's the third dimensional being, all of us, who we incarnate in our third dimensional avatar in this 3D video game. And we don't remember our 5D self or our purpose. But, I know my purpose now. 13,000 years ago, I incarnated as the ruler of Atlantis and had everything to do with creating the scenario that actually fed into how the elites then took over and tried to take over technology and spirituality. And my job now is I'm back, and I'm going to take that power back from them and give it back to the universe, give it back to people. And we're doing that with these meditations. So I know I can see my whole reality coming full circle. That I didn't, I'm still connected to all those lives and all the things that I've done. So I was seeing the same thing with JFK, which is he came here and was getting ready to start a revolution, and they offed him. And in doing that, in unaliving him, there was all kinds of things that they had to do in secret, which are now being revealed. So JFK is still doing what he intended to do. His spirit is still behind all of this. And so he hasn't stopped doing the work. How do I know that? Look at his nephew. RFK Jr. is, now one of the most powerful people in the United States government, having to do with, remember what I said about the ballooning of the corporate food nonsense. He's now he is now working to reverse that. So there's a huge karmic shift that is going on, and we can't see what's going on behind the scenes, but it's going to, it's coming. And the light beings have been very clear with me that everything's going to be shifted around. There's a good possibility that the work that we're doing is going to go into the forefront, and more people are going to be awakened and be a part of it, and I'll be able to share my story and my truth and my understanding about this. I'm only telling you what I believe I've been told. I don't need to be right about it. But it's in alignment with what I think is going to happen and what I'm seeing happening with the whole world. So let's get into it a little bit. So previous planetary alignment in 1962 signaled the elite global takeover. That's being reversed right now. Current alignment activates karmic justice, healing on planet Earth. Huge solar and planetary energy smashing into Earth right now. So, I've been a little frustrated because, sometimes we do the meditations and there's a huge amount of energy and crazy things happen. And then sometimes we do the meditations and I don't see anything and I get frustrated. It's not happening fast enough. But now I'm starting to feel the energy. I'm starting to see things begin to shift, and I can feel that right under the surface, everything is about ready to explode. And so all it needs is a match. And this is what's going to happen. Watch what's going to happen over the next week. Things are going to get more intense. And then again, after the 30th, I don't know if it's going to happen right then and there, but I know that there's going to be a huge amount of energy that's going to be released on the 29th and the 30th, and we will look back that this was the time that everything started changing, if it doesn't become very apparent. And that is a real possibility. So keep your eyes open for that. So the light beings tell me that power will increase beyond anything yet. They've been telling that for me personally, and I'm feeling it. And I haven't even gotten to, where the energy is going to go. So I really have to do my work and my meditation, and I really have to surrender. There's all kinds of things I want to flip out about. I mean, I can't get a hold of my tax person, because I just got a letter from the IRS, a week or so ago telling me that I owed them a bunch of money, and I'm like, my tax person, what's going on? And she's disappeared. So I want to flip out about that, but really it's just not that big of a deal. I'm sure I know everything will work themselves out. But the feeling that I have, your feelings tell you that this little problem is huge. It's everything. It's, you want to obsess over it and get flipped out and all that. And that's just the excuse. But what's really happening is that the energy's building up to the point where it's going to completely destroy the third dimensional attachments. So let go. Stop fighting everything. And awaken to who you truly are. Awaken. This is now the time. Because, Anyway. So as ascension symptoms crescendo, Earth transition will activate. Now is the most powerful time to intend the collapse of the globalists. So I'm going to be putting more and more energy into that in my meditations. And I'm going to be very specific about who I think about, what I'm thinking about. So you pick what your intuition is telling you needs to shift and change in the world. Maybe you want to help the children. Maybe you want to help the average person. Maybe you want to help, small business owners. Maybe you want to help artists, spiritual people, light workers. It is my belief that what will happen now, the light workers like myself and like you, we're nobodies in this, society. Nobody gives a crap. But what will happen is that's going to shift, especially when disclosure really starts coming about and people really start seeing and hearing all of this stuff, and it becomes undeniable that extraterrestrials exist and they're not what we thought they were. And the awareness that there is a higher dimensional reality and we are a part of that. And religion starts falling apart. We were talking about this last night in the live Zoom group. If you're interested in that, go to thunderwizard.com and look for the different ways that you can be a part of the live Zoom discussion group. We were talking about that. And we were commenting on somebody specifically commented about, religion's going to get destroyed. Religious people are going to flip their lid when the truth of our reality starts coming forward. When people really start understanding what's going on with ETs and light beings and, all of that. When all of that comes out, it's going to destroy the fake religion that's been thrust upon us for the past 2,000 years. And so, those of us who are doing this light work, we're going to be the people, we're going to be the experts that people are coming to. So keep doing that. Keep focusing on that. This is not the time to invest in third dimensional anything. I don't recommend investing in, your basic 3D college, university, getting some kind of certification or getting a job, or definitely don't, as you know now, don't go looking for a cushy government job. They don't exist anymore. They're getting deleted. The thing to do is to focus on your spirit and what your spirit wants to give to this planet. That's you invest in that now, you will reap huge rewards. Do energy work, meditation, to help process the intense solar radiation. So if you're not feeling it yet, you will. I know that probably the majority of you are feeling it. So it's very important that you do the work, do the energy work. I know a lot of you have your own energy practices, and that's great. As long as you're focused on some kind of energy work, I recommend that. I still have a challenge going. I originally challenged 20 of you to subscribe and do the practices that you get from the subscriptions. So bear in mind, when you go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe, it's not just you're subscribing and supporting the channel. You are doing that. But you're getting access to practices, meditation, energy work, and other ways that you can learn on your own and from me. And we've got live Zoom groups. You can work with me personally. I'm going to come out with a new apprenticeship where we're going to go deep into how to work with light beings and interdimensional energy to shift. We're going to go more and more deep into that. This is the time to do that. So I'm still challenging now 15 of you. Those of you who've been watching the channel, and all you do is watch the channel. I'm glad you do. But now's the time. If you want to get things done, if you want to shift, now's the time to do it. And I invite you to come and be a part of everything that I've learned. And we were talking about this last night, and I forget, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I literally don't know anybody else that has as much information in esoteric spirituality and has as many different practices and paths of energetic and spiritual learning than I do. I don't know anybody else. There are other people out there. They've got great stuff, but to have as many and to have as much power as we have in the stuff that we do, I'm not aware of anything. And so I encourage you to check it out at the very least. Thunderwizard.com, subscribe. And of course, if you want to get your own mantra to survive this, you can go to astrology.thunderwizard.com. michaeldenney.org tells you everything about me that you might want to know. And my books and all that other stuff. So, is there anything else? No, that's it. So that's it, my friends. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. Thank you so much. In about an hour and a half, we're going to be doing another meditation. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm assuming, based on the energy that I feel, that it's going to be very powerful, but we'll find out when we get there. And I look forward to seeing you out there. And we are going to take this world back. We're going to shift it up to a place even higher than when it was in the last great spiritual age, which was 13,500 years ago. We are going to shift it up even higher than that. And if you watch the video I just made, each human being is going to be a more powerful energy projector than the pyramids were at the height of their power. You are the most powerful being that ever existed. Even all of the extraterrestrials and the light beings will tell you that. Just the fact that you're human. You have access to the chakra system, to the energy system, to the meridian system. You have the ability to chant mantras and create things with your third eye that beings and other, higher dimensional beings don't have the powers that you have. And we're just barely tapping into the potential. So know that. And focus on that and use that. Focus on the world you want to create. Focus on your deepest joy and your deepest happiness. And don't get dragged down. Put that energy. If you want to go to war to create the new 5D world. Now's the time. I'll be there with you. I look forward to seeing you out there. Please take very good care of yourselves, and I will see you in a couple of hours.